There are holes in my van. Here, 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 here. And today I'm gonna have to fix that. Now it would appear that somebody else has had a go at sealing this and putting some glue in the holes. But I'm not going to use glue, I'm going to use non-setting mastic because I think that would probably do a better job. This is part of the trim that I pulled off. This bit is supposed to be stuck on the trim. That there is supposed to be stuck to this, like these. Instead it's just stayed on the van. I mean, I was kind of hoping this wasn't going to take all day because I do want to do all the sound deadening inside the van today as well. I'm sure it's not going to take as long as I think it's going to take. I mean, look at this. They've obviously had a leak and they've literally just chucked some form of glue over it to stop it from leaking. And by the amount that's there, I'd probably say they didn't even take the bumper off to do it. Don't worry, van, I'll give you the TLC that you need. I am literally going to do panel by panel. I'm going to pick off all of this rubbish that's on here, give it all a nice good clean, get everything assembled back on. I've got all new clips that I'm going to put in, so all new clips in here. I'm going to blob a load of non-drying mastic on there and just pop it back on, and that should make a nice seal. But it looks like they've sealed some of these, just not all of them. But like anything, I'm going to do one panel at a time, because even though it's sunny now, this is Cornwall, it could literally start raining like that, and I don't really want to allow extra moisture to get in the van if I don't need to. Now, if you want any sort of mastic to create a nice bond on any of this, it all needs to be cleaned. Not necessarily all of it, just around the areas that I'm going to do. Brand spanking new clips. I've got 50 of these, so I might as well replace as many as I can. I am going to keep all of the old ones that aren't broken, just simply because if I do run out, because you never know, at least I've got some spares. It's a windy day today. It's all about just getting them in place, ready to go back up on here. Some of these obviously are not attached, so what I'm going to do, I'll mastic on there, I'll put it back in the hole, I'm then going to glue along this area here. And then when I place this back on, hopefully the glue will bite to that. I'm not going to lie to you, it's a lovely sunny day, but that wind is freezing. So this is non-drying mastic, and what the plan is, these little clips like this, literally just dip it in that, get lots on there, and then when I push it in, it should just gunge out and then create a nice seal. And the reason why I'm using the non-setting stuff is simply because then if I ever need to take it off in the future, I'm not going to have the problem that I had today of somebody gluing it in place. So this is the broken bits, see, and I'm just going to gum it up like that. Not very pretty, but you know, it doesn't matter. And then that is just going to go in there like that. So now all I need to do, a bit of glue on the inside of the trim just to glue those clips that I've put in, and then I'm going to literally just blob a bit of mastic on each one of these and then just pop it back on. What could go wrong? So, moment of truth. Get this lined up. Come on. Hey. Well, if it didn't leak before, it's probably going to leak now. That one bit of trim nearly gave me a mental breakdown. So I've just gone around and had a look at all of the little holes that I've got in the van. All of these here, here and here. And there doesn't really seem to be any sort of like watermarks or run marks or anything like that. After literally just taking the door off, because they were glued on, I couldn't get a good enough purchase when I was putting it back on. So out of the 10 individual clips that are on that trim, I'd probably say about 6 of them actually clicked in. So I'm gonna have to go back to that at a later date, keep an eye on it, see if it is leaking and put it back on. But for now, at least, I'm gonna seal all these up from the inside. And then after that, I'll just check it later on down the line and just make sure that they're not leaking. Not ideal, but I feel like by pulling off the one on the door, I've probably made it worse than what it was before. So that was quite a bit easier, obviously, because I've done it from the inside. The hardest bit was probably around the wheel arches, but the beauty of this stuff is it's non-drying, so that means that at a later date, if I decide that I want to take the side trim off and actually, you know, have another go at it, this isn't gluing anything in place. Right, well, that's not the prettiest bit of work I've ever done, but it should keep it nice and dry in there. Just realised I've still got to do the back doors as well. But for now, I'm going to have a little rest from that, and I'm going to start doing the sound deadening. Now, when sound deadening any panos, you don't have to cover up the whole pano, just put a little bit in the middle, just to take some of that rattle out. I say this, I've never actually done this before, but I've watched a lot of YouTube videos on it, and apparently you don't have to fill the whole area. Do a little test, shall we? Right, so this is one without. This is one with. Sounds the same. Now, looking at how much of this I've got left, I'm probably going to run out before I get to do the ceiling. Probably going to leave a lot of the roof stuff to last, simply because a lot of videos that I've seen, there are a lot of places on the roof where water could come in. So I'm going to want to seal all of that before I start insulating the roof or anything. I'm going to have to cut a hole for the fan as well, because I'm putting a max air fan in the ceiling. And there's a bit of rust on the roof as well, which I'm going to fix. So as far as everything up to about here, will be insulated, have the sound deadening on it, have a vapor barrier on it. The very last part of insulation or anything will be the ceiling. What do you reckon this is for? I mean, it's obviously to stop any moisture coming through, but I'm going to be putting a vapor barrier over this anyway, so I might just put it off. I mean, there's no point keeping this on because I've got to insulate behind there anyway. Now, it's nice to see my mastic covered clips doing their job. Done little patches for in here. I believe this is my dad's chisel. Dad, if you've been looking for this chisel for 20 years, I nicked it 20 years ago. Ah yes, have it. Right, well I've just smashed my back doors in and it all looks fine. Apart from just being a little bit gross. I think that all looks fine. Probably get sealing the mastic bits in there as well whilst I'm here. Here's a little top tip for you if you've got a transit van and you're doing it up. Disconnect the inside lights, and the reason is because when you've got the doors open and you're working on it, these lights will stay on constantly and nobody wants a flat battery, so literally just pop them out, pull out one of the wires, let them hang there. That way if you don't move the van for a couple of weeks and then you go to move it, you know that your battery's not going to be flat. Now that might be where I need to leave that because I only ordered one of those packs and I've only got one bit left. Do you remember when I revealed what van I was getting and I made up that little model when I explained where everything was going to go? Well, there's a very good reason why you should plan these things. In the original plan, the leisure battery was going to go in here, underneath the bench that's going to go here. But I've changed that. That was before I knew that the battery of the van was underneath the driver's seat. So now the leisure battery is going to go down in this corner here, hence why I made the hole for the conduit that goes right to the front, so I can run my wires for my split charge relay. And making these plans are, you know, pretty important really, because then you can visualise in your head where everything's going to go. I know my battery's going to go around about here. I know that I'm going to need to run some wires all the way up to the top here to allow for my solar panel wires to come in through one of these and then all the way down to where the battery is going to be. I'm also going to run some wires along this way, all the way along to the front. And the reason for that is so that when I install my reversing camera, I can run it all the way along the front so that I can hook up the monitor. And to run the wires, I have got some corrugated conduit. It's almost like I planned all this. Crazy. I think I'm going to start with the downward one. There's a bit of string inside, the same as the one that goes through the bit in the floor. The string is called a mouse. If you are planning on running any sort of conduit in your van, always make sure you've got a mouse inside. Always make sure that you run it before you start insulating the walls as well. It'll all make your life so much easier. Also, the quickest and easy way to thread your string through your conduit is by just putting a bit of weight on it. So I'm going to tape a screw on there and I'm just going to drop it in through the next bit. Bit of weight, like that. Drop that down in there. Let gravity do its thing. Because this isn't, well, it's coiled up, it makes it really difficult to feed this through. So, okay, that worked. Well, it worked anyway. So you make all these plans and then you work out that, you find out that there's no channel there. God damn it, Ford! Right, cable ties. Best way to open cable ties so they don't all fall out is to open them in the middle and then you just pull them out like that and then they don't fall out. Now this is where there's going to be an issue because I can get to all of this through these little gaps, but as soon as I get over here, there's nothing. Do you know what? I'm now starting to wonder why this wire's here on the outside, because you can't feed all the way through. The penny might have just dropped. I mean, I am going to have a unit across here, so there's going to be like an overhead over the kitchen sort of unit all the way across. So I could just run the wires up the top there, everything, keep it all nice and tidy, because it will be hidden anyway. That might need to be the plan. Okay, plan B, I'm going to run it along just on the outside here. It'll be covered up with the units anyway, I'll just tidy this up nicely. If you want to get your cable tied to go in through a hole and out the other side, just put a little bend in it. And that way when you poke it through, it'll come back on itself. All in all, I'd say that was a pretty productive day. I wasn't expecting to do the conduit today. It's just amazing what you can do when you just crack on with it. I think the next job will be starting to insulate, but that'll be in the next video. I'll see you then. Cheers!